Alright, this is going to be my take on what if Goku landed in the Marvel world. Alright. This will be part one of his origin story. And I will say if you like this video, you like the content, like, comment, subscribe, and share if you like it, man. Alright, so let's get into it. What if Goku landed in the Marvel world? Alright, let's look at the Saiyans of Marvel because we're going to include the entire Saiyan race in the Marvel universe this go around, alright? So the Marvel Saiyans are very similar to their anime counterparts. They're still a race of warriors known for their ruthless, aggressive nature. The Saiyans were often hired out by dark forces to aid in conquering and subjugating worlds. They had a lack of technology, which limited their galactic expansion across the Marvel universe. So the amount of Saiyans off-world was limited due to that inconvenience, which led to the endangering of their species after Galactus visited and consumed their homeworld. All right, so the main hindrance for the Saiyans in this realm was they didn't have technology, because you have to remember, in the actual Dragon Ball world, a lot of their technology that was given to them by Frieza, where there is no Frieza this go around. So they have a setback in terms of technology, but they were still picked up off world by other alien races. All right. The Saiyans' exploits throughout the universe. The Saiyans that made it off world in their glory days helped destroy many worlds. They're they were weapons of war. Tools of destruction. Forming alliances with shadow figures and decimating worlds. All right. Their reputation was known and acknowledged by many different worlds. All right, they were known by the Kree, the Asgardians, the Skrulls, etc. All right, Odin knew about them. You know, he knew about the Yamoshi too. The first Super Saiyan God. But we're going to deal with that in a completely separate video. The Kree knew about them, and so did the Skrulls. And many other alien races throughout the 616 universe. All right, let's look at Bardock. Bardock was a member of the Ravagers. All right, you guys remember these dudes from Guardians of the Galaxy? So the Ravagers are an interstellar crime syndicate comprising of thieves, smugglers, criminals, bandits, mercenaries, bounty hunters, and pirates. There are nearly 100 factions of Ravagers around the galaxy. Each faction of the Ravagers has a captain of its own leading their operations. So Bardock was among the Ravagers, and he fell in the mercenary category, obviously. But he was a member of the Ravagers. All right, he even was a captain of his own Ravager crew. They were mercenaries. All right, that's him and his Saiyan crew, doing their mercenary work as a Ravager squad. Which brings us to the beginning of the end for the Saiyans. Bardock and his crew were going back to the planet Vegeta to see the newly born Kakarot, son of Bardock. Bardock had a mutation that allowed him to have vague visions of the future. All right, so there was never a Kanasin that pointed him in the neck in this world. In this go around, we're just going to say that Bardock had a mutation that allowed him to have visions of the future. All right, clairvoyance. All right, and he sensed that something was going to happen to their world. That's when he decides to send his son to the planet Earth. The Earth of Marvel, Earth 616. Then the end arrives. All right, the new threat arrives. And it was way harder for them. It was way harder for them than they had expected. But his vision had came true, and they couldn't defeat this threat. Bardock's vision came to reality when a mysterious enemy came with an overwhelming power. Bardock gave it his best, but him as well as the entire planet was vanquished. Alright, so the only Saiyans that ended up surviving this confrontation were the ones that were off-world. That was a very limited number. Alright, and this is the figure that destroyed the planet. And I'm going to give you guys a hint. You kind of guess in the comment section. But I'll give you a hint. This isn't Galactus that destroyed this planet. Alright. We'll get that in a later part of the series. Alright. So someone seeing all this transpire saw great things in this child's future. This is, as you guys know, this is Watu the Watcher, and he actually watched all this transpire, and he he saw great things in this kid's future. You know, him and someone else. So the Sand Pod arrived in the savage lands of Earth. You know, the savage land parts. You know, where home home of dinosaurs and cavemen and etc. Meanwhile, Craven was on the hunt for a new bestial challenge. He was testing his ability of vision in the dark. All right. You know, the hunt begins. And like it says, no one has ever attempted to tame this savage land or defile its pristine ecology. The hunt begins until now. All right, and on his hunt, he was successful in taking down one of the creatures that dwelled in the savage land. You know, but suddenly an earthquake emerged in the wilderness. You know, the ground shakes. And a mighty Ozaru rears his ugly head, his monstrous head, throughout the woodlands. You know, seeing this, it gets his blood pumping and boiling. Craven's blood pumping and boiling. A new challenger emerges. Craven engages the massive raging monkey, you know, to see what this creature is, has a potential to give him a fight he's been waiting for. All right, so they face off. You know, Craven takes his stance, and he battles the Ozaru, you know, the great ape. You know, the fight rages on for a very long time, and after a while, Craven came to the realization that his attacks were doing little to no damage. Thinking his next move, he came to two conclusions: that he was either going to have to retreat or die. You know. But before his planned escape, he decided to give this beast something to remember by, so he consumed more of his elixir and put all his strength into one last melee strike. You know, boosting himself up, saying, "I am Craven. You know, I will not be defeated by some mindless beast." So he charged up his final attack. You know, he flexes his muscles, tightens them up, and releases all the tension with a leap. Pulls out his two knives, and gives the ape something to remember him by slicing off his tail. You know, unbeknownst to him, slicing off his tail made this ape change back into a man, more specifically a child. You know, as you can see, he's regressing back to the beginning. Craven, seeing this boy, is shocked. You know, this was the monster that almost took his own life. That it almost took his life. You know. Then Craven starts to think, you know, in his head of his, that this is the opportunity of an age. After the excitement died down, Craven came to the idea to raise this child as his own son, considering how this baby boy gave him one of his greatest challenges in all of his long life. He can't help but smile at this new course. You know, a new adventure for him, a new opportunity, if you will. As the sun rises, Craven looks at the sleeping boy with a serious expression. Could this finally be my successor? You know. Now we have a time skip, our first time skip. Moving on. Now, in this time skip, you have to remember. So Craven took this boy under his wing and began to raise this child that we know as Goku. So, with that in mind, let's see the feats that Goku will have to be similar to his adoptive father. All right, so we're going to look at Craven's personality first. So, Craven lives by a code of honor of sorts. Choosing to hunt his game fairly, Craven was trained as a hunter largely by a mysterious man named Gregor, a mercenary who once battled Khazar. Craven is typically portrayed as a renowned big game hunter whose goal in life is to best Spiderman in order to prove himself as the world's greatest hunter. Though he is often overconfident in his own abilities, which he boasts about, he possesses a great sense of honor and treats his adversaries as equals until proven otherwise. Because of this, Craven has also been depicted as an anti-hero. and an ally of Squirrel Girl and sometimes Spider-Man himself, whom he came to respect deeply for the numerous times he defeated Craven. So, wrapping all of this together, we know what? That Goku is going to also have this honor code, and have a sense of honor, and treat every opponent as if they were his equal. All right, but he's also going to be super confident in his abilities. All right, so moving on. Now let's look at Craven's expertise, man. It says experienced combatant. All right, so Craven's an experienced combatant. Craven is a master of many armed and unarmed forms of combat, and his skill is great enough to beat Spider-Man in one-on-one combat. He's also an expert knife fighter. His fighting style is very savage in nature, and Craven has developed a unique fighting style by fighting wild and vicious animals with his bare hands. His fighting skills are often enough to defeat Spider-Man in combat, being with a greater strength than Craven. All right, so one of his expertise is he's a experienced combatant. Let's look at something else. He's also a weapon specialist. He masters the uses of most melee weapons such as swords, knives, axes, staves, and spears. However, due to his hunting experience, he is also skilled with ranged weaponry and has a remarkable skill with rifles and blow darts. Alright, so he's also really good with different types of weapons, long range and close range weapons. He's also an expert marksman. Craven used all sorts of ranged weaponry during his life, and as a result, he possesses great accuracy and skill with guns and throwing weapons, and also blow darts. He rarely misses his target. All right, so he's a sniper and a knife specialist. A sniper of sorts, more of a blow dart sniper, but and I know a lot of you already know this about Craven, but this is more so for the people that might not be familiar with who Craven the Hunter is. And also this allows me to this also gives you an idea of what Goku is going to be like, being raised under this man. All right. Now, he's also a master tactician and strategist. Craven has a brilliant tactical mind and often deploys elaborate traps to surprise his foes. He makes excellent use of his taming skills by incorporating deadly predators into his schemes. Craven's observatory skills are top-notch, and he can patiently wait for hours just to find the perfect moment to strike. His plots allowed him to outsmart and kidnap the likes of Spider-Man and even Venom. He recently used the tactical skills to hunt a new Scarlet Spider, Kane, which disguised as Ben Reilly. All right, so he's also able to ambush people like Spider-Man, who has a spider sense. All right, so that's no small feat. He's also a master hunter and tracker. Craven was and still is one of the Earth's best hunters. He possesses astonishing tracking abilities and is even able to track Spider-Man across rooftops. Furthermore, he can pick up his prey's trail from meager details in the area. He also has vast hunting experience, knowing many special hunting methods and animal-specific habits. He also developed techniques to track and hunt superpowered individuals like Spider-Man without their notice. All right, so like this again, you got to remember Spider-Man has Spidey sense, and even he can't sense Craven at times. All right, his medical knowledge. He is very familiar with medicine and with exotic poisons, drugs, plants, tranquilizers, and their effect on both animal and human anatomy. He has amassed a great knowledge about animal biology and has moderate knowledge about human anatomy as well. He's also a master animal tamer. All right, so all of these things are going to be passed down to Goku, in a degree. All right, master animal tamer. Craven can subdue and train almost any animal. Animals he has trained show fearless loyalty to Craven and follow his orders almost perfectly. He is able to train two animals and then command them in unison and with flawless synchronization. Due to this skill, most people think he uses some sort of mind control. And he also has minor occult knowledge. During Craven's travels throughout the world, he came into contact with numerous tribes and civilizations. Thus, he witnessed many of their rituals and has minor skills in their performance. He was able to recreate the Calypso serum for himself and his family. All right, so he'll be passing that. So, to summarize this up, Craven's expertise, he'll be passing down an experienced combat, weapon specialist, expert marksman, master tactician and strategist, master hunter and tracker, medical knowledge, master animal tamer, and minor occult knowledge. Alright, now let's look at Craven's abilities, and then we're going to get to Goku. Alright. By regularly ingesting the potion made from various unnamed jungle herbs, Craven grants himself superhuman physical abilities, making him a physical threat to Spider-Man. The potion enhances Craven's sight, hearing, and smell to superhuman levels, adding to his already impressive tracking skills. He can see farther and with much greater clarity than a normal human. His hearing is similarly enhanced, enabling him to detect sounds which an ordinary human cannot, or sounds that a normal human could detect, but at much greater distances. Craven can use his sense of smell to track and target by scent, much as some animals do, even if the scent had been somewhat eroded by natural factors. So basically, he has superhuman hearing, smell, sight, and also strength. Alright, but also look at this. Craven is an Olympic level athlete and a gifted tactician, hunter, and hand-to-hand combatant. He also has great knowledge of pressure points both in the anatomy of humans and in many animals. He can strike at these nerve clusters with pinpoint accuracy, allowing him to incapacitate more powerful opponents or animals. He is familiar with many exotic poisons and tranquilizers, which he often uses during his hunts. So he has all of these abilities, he can also teach to Goku. Now knowing Goku, Goku isn't just a human. So he also has strength. So on top of that, with his training, Goku's already a force. Alright, let's get to Goku. Oh, I wanted to do a fun fact also. So fun fact, when I was looking up Craven's abilities, I was looking up Craven's abilities. And in the abilities of Craven the Hunter, look at this. One of his abilities is known as Ultra Instinct. Enhanced physical attributes, skilled tactician, tracker, and hand-to-hand combat. So that's kind of funny that Ultra Instinct was listed in Craven's abilities. But I just thought that was funny and y'all should know. Alright, so Goku's personality. Goku's personality growth. Alright, so the reason I chose Craven is because Craven wants to be known as the best hunter. This influence is going to rub off on Goku to want to be the best warrior. I chose Craven because this route makes this Goku share a very similar personality to the regular anime counterpart, in the sense that Goku isn't really a hero per se. He just likes fighting strong opponents for the most part. But also, this Marvel version of Goku will be different in the sense that he isn't naive, nor is he lacking in conventional intelligence, because he never hit his head, and he was raised by someone that actually had knowledge of, certain things instead of just being in the mountains with Gohan, So that's a big difference. And as you can see, he's already taken after his adopted father by going after this dinosaur. All right. Now, growing up, you can see that he took on clothing similar to Craven himself. Growing up in the savage lands, he also became friends with animals. Like the lions that Craven tames. He's shown how to tame animals, etc. He's also getting in a fight with multiple beasts. Learning how to survive in the wilderness. All type of stuff. Basically, this is what Goku was doing growing up. All right. Lifting dinosaurs. Using his senses other than his vision. Being keen on his smell. Water training, but also training in weapons like the guns and the spear, and going back to the gun and the spear. So he was also trained with those two things. So that's the Goku that we're dealing with here. All right, so one day Goku ends up consuming Craven's elixir. And when Goku consumes the potion that Craven uses, he transforms into the Akari form. And for those of you who don't remember the Akari form, that's what Broly used in the Broly movie. Alright, Akari is the wrath state. Transformation unique to the Saiyan Broly. Despite lacking a tail, the wielder is able to use the power of a great ape transformation in his human form by tapping into this transformation when he loses control of his anger. All right, so but unlike naturally being able to use it like Broly did, Kakarot or Goku is able to get this Akari state by consuming the same elixir that Craven has and boosting his sense. So while his senses are increased, Craven's senses are increased, you know, this actually activates something deep within Goku, which is the Akari state. And when he did this one time, it almost killed Craven, you know. And Craven realized that he would have to learn to control this at a later date when he gets older. But for now, he made sure that Goku didn't contain this elixir. Alright, so Craven decides that it is time for Goku to fly out of the nest. Alright, so at the age of 12, Craven tells Goku that it is now time for Goku to make a name for himself as Craven did and encourage him to travel the world. So Craven decides that it's time for Goku to fly out of the nest. You know, he has to talk. And Goku is excited, man. Goku wants to see the world. You know. So Goku's going to be using the animals that he tamed as his form of transportation for now. Alright, so he's going to be using a pterodactyl and a land dinosaur as transportation to other lands. Alright. Just like his adopted father, Goku has learned to tame beasts, but instead of lions and tigers and bears, Goku chose the dinosaurs of Savage Land. Alright. So back to so now we're at the last slide here, the first part. So Goku travels and he wants to learn more fighting techniques so he can become the greatest warrior. So he travels to a place that has a new master. So he's about to have his first new master. All right, now you tell me in the comments who you think this first new master is going to be. All right, because I'm not going to reveal it yet. That'll be for the next part. But Goku is going to train under a new master in the next part. All right, so let me know who you think that's going to be. And that'll be the first rendition of this series. So that's the first part of What If Goku Landed in the Marvel World. This is the origin arc. And also let me say this. I know I kind of talked a lot and I read a lot of things that were written down in this presentation. But you know, after I do all of these different parts, I'm gonna do a separate thing entirely, and I'm gonna call it "What If Goku Landed in the Marvel World: Goku's Origin Story, the movie." And I'm gonna cut out the parts where you would see like text like this, and this is gonna be purely cinematic. All right, so but I wanted to kind of show you guys why I thought the way I thought and why I chose the things that I chose, you know, in making this story, you know, and so with that, I like to say, you know, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and share, you know, and I will be working on the next part. All right, so thank you for watching the videos.